Top 5 horror films based on true events. It's quite hard to equate the term based on true events to horror movies, but Hollywood has a way of twisting or stretching the truth just to get to a point, and most especially if the goal is to give a good scare. Still, it's hard to deny the fact that the kernel of truth is there. Today, we're presenting 5 best horror films that are actually based on true events. Number 5. The Exorcist, 1973. The film The Exorcist is considered one of the most important horror films ever created in the history of cinema. The film, which was directed by the late William Peter Blatty, set several box office records for many years. The story follows the demonic possession of a 12-year-old girl and her mother's attempt to save her through an exorcism done by 2 priests. The movie is actually based on a 1971 novel of the same name, written by Blatty himself. But the book, meanwhile, is about the demonic possession of an 11-year-old girl. The novel itself is in turn inspired by the real-life case of demonic possession and exorcisms done to an unidentified 13-year-old boy. The exorcisms were supposed to be witnessed by more than 20 people who could attest to the horrible things that took place during the sessions. Apparently, they were terrified and scarred for life from what they've seen. Those people involved were implored to share the experience and reveal what really happened, which is why there are books written and movies made about it. Number 4. The Amityville Horror, 1979. One of the most known paranormal cases in the country, and perhaps in the entire world, comes from this one humble home in New York. Less than 50 miles outside of New York City, in the Long Island town, Amityville, is a large Dutch colonial house that will be forever tied to the Amityville horror phenomenon of the 1970s. All the unimaginable things that happened in that abode inspired the creation of the 1977 novel, The Amityville Horror, A True Story, written by J. Anson. The book talks about the house at 112 Ocean Avenue, the site in which the infamous Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed 6 of his family members. More than a year after the tragic incident, the Lutz family bought the residence. After 28 days, the Lutzes decided to leave, forever scarred and traumatized by the paranormal phenomena that took place inside the house. Just in case you missed it, there was really a criminal case that involved the original owner of the house murdering his entire family. Further investigations even suggest that DeFeo was influenced to commit the murder because of a demonic presence in the building. Hollywood was quick to pick the story, and it has since brought forth several movies. Number 3. The Haunting in Connecticut, 2009. The story of a psychological horror film by Peter Cornwell revolves around a certain family who moved into a house, which, as it happens, was a former mortuary. They did so to accommodate the needs of their cancer-stricken son, Matthew. It didn't take long before the family realized that the place is haunted to the core. They soon experienced violent and traumatic events brought forth by supernatural forces said to occupy the house. In turn, the movie is based on the real-life family of Carmen Snedeker, who, along with her family, moved into a former funeral home way back in the 1980s. In his novel, In a Dark Place, The Story of a True Haunting, author Ray Garton revealed the terrifying experiences that the Snedekers went through while living in that house. This includes apparitions of ghosts and other paranormal entities. Number 2. Child's Play, 1988. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably must have seen, or at least heard, the movie Child's Play. This 1988 horror gem is about a child's doll, Chucky, who's possessed by the soul of a serial killer. The toy goes on a killing spree around town, murdering anyone who dares to cross its path. While it's intuitive to say it couldn't be possible for a toy to come back to life and cause harm, it might surprise you that Chucky's tale was actually inspired by a real-life doll, Robert. Robert is apparently a haunted doll that allegedly talks, and these words that come out from its mouth are no ordinary rumblings and babblings, as might be expected from a toy. There were supposed to be malicious murmurings, which would inspire fits of rage in its young owner, Eugene. According to accounts, Eugene's family would often hear the child talking to the doll up in his bedroom. Weeks wouldn't go by without strange things happening in their house. It was even reported that Robert could be seen walking around the house when the family was asleep or not around. And number 1, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005. Perhaps one of the most hair-raising, nightmare-inducing horror films ever made is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. The film, directed by Scott Derrickson, features the brilliant acts of Jennifer Carpenter as the titular possessed character, Emily Rose. In the meantime, the film's story talks about an attorney defending a priest who is thought to be responsible for Emily's death. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is actually based on a real-life German woman named Anneliese Michel, who, like the fictional character, also died after going through an exorcism. Michel was also found to have been malnourished and severely dehydrated. The local priests, including Michel's parents, were charged with negligent homicide and were even sentenced to 3 years probation. Some reports indicated it was actually Michel's epilepsy that likely killed her, although people still blamed the supernatural phenomenon that befell in this poor, wretched soul. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.